Good morning and welcome back to another Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 stream. We are going to be taking the Southwest 737 on a flight from Lincoln, Nebraska over to Denver, Colorado. It has been a minute since we've flown the 737. This is the PMGG 737, which partly, for the most part, works in Flight Sim 2024. We're hoping and waiting patiently for the full release of the plane. Let's hop into this cockpit. So I have it currently set up for cold and dark GPU connected. The one thing I did test was the trim, and that does work. So if the trim works, that means everything else should kind of work here in Flight Sim 2024. Now, this is a pilot's life flight. However, there's a caveat to that. It is a pilot lights flight as SkyWest, but obviously SkyWest does not fly the 737. So I decided to make it a Southwest flight with a pilot's life. But it is a real-world flight with SkyWest, Lincoln to Denver, normally in the, I think it's a CRJ. But this is a 367 nautical mile flight. I figured that the 737 should be up for the task. So let's get things rolling as we have a long taxi of a longer flight. We're going to go up here to the top. We're going to go to nav. Now, I might goof up some things here because it's been a minute since I've been in the 737. I was in it yesterday a bit, doing some testing and all that, and all seemed to work just fine. But it doesn't mean everything's going to work just fine for me. All right, so let's go ahead and get the first, what's it called, fuel pump going here. And let's get the APU rolling. Get that kicking on board. Let's go ahead and get the chimes going as well. Emergency lights, and that is set. Run currently on ground power. Let's get the logo lights. Now I will have to keep an eye over here because for some reason the wheel well lights like to kick off. And I don't know why. I'm not sure if there's a key binding issue or what. Once we have that set, we can go over here to the tablet and go to request sim brief data. It's going to import it. Flick to a different screen because there's an issue with that. Going down below, we have to align our IRSs. So if we go to menu, FMC, position, next, grab the GPS, go previous, and drop it in here. Next, we can go to route, and we can request our flight plan. Here's our sim brief one. Click the button. We can load the fuel, or sorry, the payload, set the fuel, load our route, and all should be grand. While that's doing that, I'm gonna go over here to FS action, ground, so I can disconnect the ground when we're ready. And it looks like we're good there. Southwest 516, our typical 516 in there. We're expecting runway 14 for departure. So let's load that in there. Let's go up here and see if we have an APU rolling yet. And it looks like APU is ready. Or hold on, no, sorry, APU is not ready. I'm waiting for that light to come on. Alright, back on down here and activate this, execute. Alright, so runway, what did I say? 14 for departure. And execute that. Performance, we can request it. Let's go up top and wait for that APU still. Is the APU not rolling up? Oh, it's not. Uh-oh. Maybe we'll be taking this plane. Fuel, and then start the APU. On ground power. Low pressure. I'm not seeing the needle move for the APU. Do we hear anything on the outside? Nope. Alright, we'll try one last thing, because I really like to fly this plane. So let's go on down here. We're going to go and try to do a different panel state. So let's go load. Let's go to... Let's go to taxi. Now this is going to clear everything out here, including our flight plan, I believe. APU's off. Engines are coming on board. That's what we're hearing in the background. Okay. So let's go back here and position. We should have that still set in there. Our route. Do we have any of that? Probably not. So we go route. And oh, yeah, it did save it. I'll be danged. Okay. So then we have to load this stuff. Okay, good. Execute. Flight level 380. And then we're going to be 5 for that. CG 5.87 for the trim. That kind of sucks. I didn't know that was a bug with the cold and dark. What was it? Oh, 5.87. So somewhere about there. Okay. And altimeter is set and checked. Okay, now we gotta make sure everything else is grand here. So lights on, good. We are on the generators. Seatbelt sign, good there. Yaw dampers on, that's good. Fuel pumps on. Off there, packs are on. Okay, and this is gonna go up to 3.8. Okay, cool. Okay, let's go ahead and get beyond ATC rolling next. And clearance is 1207.
Southwest 516, looking to pick up our clearance to Denver.
Southwest 516, Lincoln clearance, cleared to Denver Airport. Radar vectors Briary, then as filed. Maintain 5,000 feet. Expect flight level 380, 10 minutes
Alright,
after
5,000 on departure.
Departure frequency 128.75.
Obviously we gotta ask for pushback and engine start, even though we have our engine started, but, you know, oh well. 1602 for squawk.
Radar vectors Briary, then as filed. Maintain 5,000 feet. Expect flight level 380, 10 minutes after departure.
That's so weird, I don't...
Departure frequency
Never had any issue with the APU not starting.
Squawk 1602, Southwest 516.
Makes me feel like I missed a step, but...
Southwest 516,
fuel and then
correct.
APU, so... Because we are on the ground power. So I can't think of anything that could have gone wrong. But it is me, so...
Southwest 516, thanks.
Alright, then we'll go over to ground.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome. Lincoln ground, Southwest 516, request pushback and engine start. Alright, let's go ahead and get that going.
Southwest 516, Lincoln ground pushback and engine start approved. Face east.
We're gonna face east.
Pushback approved, face east, Southwest 516.
East. Learn directions, east. Alright, let's go commence the pushback. Clock rolling. Alright, well that helped a little bit with time, I guess, right? Alright, flight director is set and checked on. Now TCAS will remain off, because in this plane, if you have it on in 2024, it thinks that there's a bunch of other planes around you. Or no, sorry, it counts you as a plane on the TCAS. And that obviously can cause some issues, because you'll be seeing a red bar here the entire flight. Now, I had a profile made up for this, where I had the ground power connected, so pretty much the cold dark GPU profile. But for some reason, like, that profile doesn't want to work anymore. You know, clearing out the WASM folder and all that jazz, so I'm so confused. Morning, Ed. Welcome on in. I'm just really confused why, in certain cases, this plane just kind of funky. So they wanted me to face east, which is kind of weird for runway 14. So we're talking about the other east. Lincoln ground, Southwest 516, ready to taxi to the active.
Southwest 516, runway 1 for taxi via Alpha. Hold short runway 36.
Runway 14 is behind us.
Alpha. Hold short runway 36, Southwest 516.
That's really weird. How's my maps backwards? That can't be right. 1-4. No, yeah, it's behind us. I don't know why it had us face east. Alright, let's go ahead and get our taxi lights rolling here. So, it can be all kinds of technical issues, I guess, on this flight. Which pushback software are you using? This is a free one. It's on flightsim.to. It is called Pushback Toolbar. I think it's called just Pushback Toolbar. Yeah, 1-4 is this way, so I'm not quite sure why they had us face east. I do have, so I also have, okay, so this pushback toolbar is, I think it's called the pushback toolbar, is free on flightsim.to. It's been free on there for a long time. Well, Aerosoft also has a version of this that is a pro version, a paidware one, right? It's like, I don't know, $15 or so. And the difference is that you get some audio cues with the pro version, and there might be one or two other minor little things. But I had issues with that version more than I had, a lot more than I had with the free one. A lot more than I had with the free one. Like, I remember when there was one plane that came out. I don't remember which plane it was now. It might have been the A300. Either way, there was some plane that came out that wouldn't allow me to push back with the pro version, but the free one worked fine. Explain that logic to me. They're based on the same code with just some minor, you know, like I said, audio cues in there. Holding short 36.
Southwest 516, cross runway 36 at Alpha. Continue taxi via
But
Alpha.
then, of course, 2024 came out, and the pro version wasn't supported, but the free version worked like within a week, I believe. The free version worked. So I've been on the free version pretty much since the launch of 2024, and I've tried the pro version a couple times, but I have issues every once in a while with it, and I don't understand. Like, I paid money for that version because of, you know, audio cues or the little extra crap it has. But I guess that's how it works sometimes. Is the FPS rough on the screen? I'm kind of noticing on OBS it kind of looks like it's kind of crappy FPS, but I'm using FrameGen. Whoops. And you can see it's 90 in the 90s. So I'll have to look into that. Alright, taxiing away 27 knots. Watch that speed because we're over. Welcome in, Will. Amsterdam time. Welcome on in. Hope you had a great weekend. My weekend was this. My weekend was this. My weekend was Doom. And playing some, catching up on Last of Us Part 2. And oh man, that last episode last night, if you haven't watched the series on HBO Max, that's fantastic. And the game obviously is even better.
Southwest
But oh man,
516, contact
so
Lincoln
cool.
Tower 118.5.
Over the tower.
Over to Tower 118.5, Southwest 516.
Lincoln Tower, Southwest 516, ready to go, runway 14. Seems like every time I use GSX, it damages the plane, landing gear gets destroyed. Gets destroyed.
Gust 32, fly runway heading, runway 14, cleared for takeoff.
Alright, wheel well is good
Fly
still?
runway
Yep.
heading, runway 14 cleared for takeoff, Southwest 516.
Alright, runway heading on departure. Alright, here we go. So on departure, runway heading, and then they'll probably vector us over to the right. Let's see if we can manage to fly the 737 again. Bring up the throttles up to about 60%. Toga set checked. Let the engines power ups. looks good. Spool up, I guess, is the correct terminology. Jumra's brutal, but repetitive. Yeah. I had... Well, let me take off and I'll talk about it. Alright, winds 19 knots ahead, but pretty much a straight headwind.
V1,
Rotating.
positive rate.
Gear going up. Alright, maintaining runway heading at this point. Heading select. Oh, no, we gotta wait until 400 feet above. Heading select. And vertical nav.
Southwest 516, contact Minneapolis Center 128.7.
Trim going up. Or not trim, sorry. Flaps going up
Center
one
on
notch.
128.75,
Trim going down.
Southwest 516. Minneapolis Center, Southwest 516, 2,500.
Ups up to 1.
Southwest 516, Minneapolis Center.
Alright, climbing us all the way up to 380.
Maintain flight level 380.
Cool by me.
Climb and maintain flight level 380.
And full flaps up.
Southwest 516.
Anti-skid to off.
Southwest 516, turn right heading 265.
265.
Further clearance in about 51 miles.
Turn right, heading 265, Southwest 516.
We're adjusting trim. The weather, like everywhere I was flying yesterday in the sim, is just like rainy, overcast, broken clouds. Alright, coming up on 5,000. Making our way over to 265, and then we'll expect Vector on course to, what does that say? Brownberry, probably?
Southwest 2625, turn right heading 060. Climb, maintain flight level 340.
Turn right, heading 060. Climb, maintain flight level 340.
Alright, looking
Southwest
pretty good.
2625.
What are we going to? 265. So we'll talk about Doom, we'll talk about Sim Update 3, because I did experiment with that. And then we'll talk about some other stuff here. 8,000.
Southwest 516, turn right heading 340.
340, they're telling me I'm slow.
Turn right, heading 340, Southwest 516.
I would like it just to yell at me sometimes like that. Hey, make a turn, dang it. Alright, coming up on 10,000, we're going to go AP on. Landing lights are coming off. Runway lights off, taxi lights off, checked. Everything else is looking good. Beautiful. Alright, and then they should probably get us back on course here momentarily once we get lined up with the nav. Alright, let's see what chat is looking like. Apparently it's really common on forums, at least with the Asobo 737 Max. I use the Max. What? Hey, Will, thanks for the member subscription. I tried the Asobo Max out this weekend.
516, turn left heading 265.
And like it works fine. The biggest issue though is the trim is just overly sensitive and the controls are just overly like wobbly. That's the only issue. If they can figure out that problem, I would fly the heck out of that plane right now. I really would. That's honestly the only problem I have with it. I love the computer system, it's fine. You know, the sounds are a little funky, but it's a free plane. You know, it's a first party plane, it's free. It's their first major complex plane. You know, so it's flyable, it does its job, but comparing it to like the 737 or iFly, it's not fair at all to Asobo. Not fair at all. Who knows how many people are even working on that plane? It was a fresh install and fully updated. I'll give it another shot since I paid for it. Yeah, GSX. I have a love-hate relationship with GXX. And so someone was telling me that I should try it again, so I did. And this was a month or so ago. And the reason why I've been so hesitant of going back into it is back in 2020. I bought it, but I was having CTDs sometimes. And it's always been rare for me to have CTDs with Flight Sim. Very, very rare. It's always because I'm in some sort of beta for something, right? But I was having more CTDs with GSX. So I removed it and the CTDs went away. Well then, I finally jumped back into it and tried it again. And the very first flight I did with GSX again, this was in 2020 of course, is CTD on approach. And at that point I uninstalled it, didn't touch it again for like a year. Well then 2024 came out, they had updates for all this kind of stuff, so I finally tried it again. And I had 0 CTDs, 0 issues at all with the software. My problem is more of, I just don't use a lot of the features. I like to typically just get things rolling on my flights. So the baggage and the passenger loading and the fuel loading, all that stuff, just it takes time that I'm not willing to sit for. And again, this is not a GSX issue, this is just a me issue. Alright. Uh-oh. We gotta put in arrival. Runway 26 currently ILS via log green. I don't know what that's supposed to be. And via berry, or what's it, brownberry? I don't know what that's supposed to be either. Leg it, and okay, now we should be good to go. So, again, no problems with GSX this last time. I used it with a handful of different planes, and it all worked fine. The performance hit wasn't as bad as in the past, so that's cool that they did some upgrades with that. I just don't take advantage of all of it. If there was a way to like speed up things or not allow it to do certain things, like if I could not have it do the baggage, I'd be happy. If I can just have it load passengers, or really speed up the baggage, because you can speed up the passenger load, but you really can't speed up the baggage. And the baggage, it takes forever. Is this just one plane that it happens with, or does it not matter with GSX? Yeah, it sounds like Chip is saying it's just the Sobel Max. Oh, it's the only Airliners phone. Okay. So, okay, go back to Doom.
Southwest 516, Minneapolis Center. Expect logger tree, runway tree.
Oh, of course, I just put in my stuff and it changed my runway. Expect logger 3, runway 34 right, Southwest 516. Logger. Logs. Alright, 34 right. Logger. Good.
Turn left, heading 215, Southwest
good.
516.
Alright, all set. Checked. Where are we going?
Southwest 516.
215.
Center 119.4.
Why don't you just have me go direct at this point?
Contact Minneapolis Center.
What do we got air here?
119.4, Southwest 516.
Unable to. That's fine. Yeah, so anyways, with Doom, I'm having a blast playing Doom. Now, yeah, it is repetitive. There's no doubt about it. All the Doom games are.
Southwest 516, Minneapolis Center, copy.
It runs really, really well in my system. I use FrameGen, but I don't need to. Even without FrameGen, it runs really, really well. It looks gorgeous, just beautiful. Obviously the shooting is up to par. I guess one of the biggest issues I have with this version of it is that certain enemies require certain weapons to be used primarily. So like there's the dudes with the blue shield, you're supposed to use the plasma weapon to take them out. Now you can use any other weapon, but obviously then they get nerfed more. Or you get nerfed more, I should say. So I don't like that so much. But outside of that, it's been pretty good. I'm on level 8, I think, and I have it on Game Pass, so it's been pretty good. I mean, I've had a good time. It's one of those games where I bought the previous two. I can't think of their names right now, but I bought the previous two Doom games, and I had fun playing them. It's just that once I beat the game, I don't ever really go back and play it again. You know, once you've experienced it, you experienced it. And the last one that came out, I enjoyed it. My biggest issue with that game was I didn't care for like the parquet stuff. I didn't care for like the zip lining across things, or jumping around and platforming. I didn't care for any of that. I don't want any of that in Doom. All right, we're direct bury now, and LNAV. So that really turned me off. I beat it, played it, beat it, had fun with it, except for that platforming parquet stuff. I didn't care for any of that. I agree with the loading, the baggage loading, but I love the immersion. Yeah, the immersion manning is amazing. I agree with you. Now, see, now that we talk about it, it makes me want to go in, or makes me want to go and download it and use it again. Again, if I could just get rid of that bagging, get rid of the baggage handling, or speed it up, or cut it in half, or something, I don't know. Everything else I'm fine with. I don't need the passengers in the back. Speaking of passengers, so let's jump into Sim Update 3, which launched on Friday, I believe, right? And this surprised a lot of people because they said that with Sim Update, Sim Update 2 launched on Thursday, and then they said Sim Update 3 would come the next day. Beta, at least, right? So, and the notes are extremely long. It's impressive to see. Like, it shows that they were just kind of fine-tuning things with Sim Update 2, and that they had it prepared, and that they already were advancing to Sim Update 3. So, I've been saying a long time that I thought Sim Update 2 was pretty much ready to go. They were just fine-tweaking a few things. And I had no idea, though, that they were working behind the scenes on Sim Update 3. But the list, again, super long. There's a bunch of things they fixed in there. They did some things with lighting, did some things with optimization, the VRAM issues, stuff like that, right? You're the first and only sub, Joe. So, with Sim Update 3, the 777 doesn't work. There's some coding. So if it's in your community folder, it will load up to like 87% and then crash. This is known to Asobo and known to PMGG, which will be using. Okay, so if memory serves me correctly, they're using SDA. They're using the Sim Update 1, I think it was. SDK, I think it was Sim Update 1 SDK, when they compiled the 777. Well, apparently Asobo did some things for Sim Update 3, so it broke it. But PMGG is releasing an update this week and also launching the 200, the 300 in Flight Sim 2024. Who knows how much that upgrade's going to cost. And along with that, they're also going to have an update for the 200. So that should fix that issue. The second issue is that randomly controlled peripherals will kind of disconnect. So imagine you coming in to fly, all of a sudden coming into land, and your yoke no longer works, or your rudder pedals don't work anymore on your touchdown, and now you can't control the ground, or your throttles just stop working. Right? Now, I personally haven't had issues mid-flight. I personally, though, have had issues. I had issues when I first launched the Sim Update 3. None of my peripherals worked, period. So I had to unplug, plug them back in. Eventually, I got them all to work. And then I restarted the Sim, got back into Sim, and everything was working. Well, then yesterday, when I went to fly again, none of them were working. I'm unplugging, plugging back in, and every time I plug one in, one got disconnected. So I tried again. Another one got disconnected. So it's like it only allowed me to have one thing active in there, and that was the end of it for me at that point. I was like, okay, well, Sim Update 3 is good, it works well, but this is a pretty big issue. Second is I was doing a flight from, I can't remember where. Might have been International Falls to Minneapolis. But anyways. Or maybe it was, actually it might have been Lincoln. But anyways, I was doing a flight from, oh no, it was Idaho. I think it was Idaho. Or, yeah, Idaho. No, Iowa? Iowa. Anyways, so I was coming in to Minneapolis on the approach, and I got a CTD. And that was the final line there. The final line. Because I rarely, as I said earlier, I rarely get CTDs in flight simming. In Flight Sim 2024, I've had one CTD, and that was live on stream here. That was mid-flight, and it just crashed on me. And that's the only CTD I've ever had mid-flight. I've had them on the ground before. I've had it launch of the sim, that kind of jazz, or I've had it freeze on exiting the sim, but I've never had it. I should say, it's rare that I ever have it happen mid-flight. Very, very rare. How fast was your loading 24 with? Oh man, it was super fast. It would. Here's how crazy it was. Okay, so I closed out the sim, went to go do some things, came back like an hour later to jump into a flight. And so I picked out the CRJ, I loaded up at a gate at the airport I was going to depart from, and I kid you not, before I could even get Beyond ATC, before I can even push the button where I launch Beyond ATC, the sim was already in the airport. It was already at the airport. It was incredible how fast it was. It's like there was virtually no loading. Once you do the initial load, like at a certain airport, it seems like it stores that information now, so that you don't have to reload textures and all that. And maybe it was a coincidence. And again, I already had used that plane, so it already compiled the shaders for that plane, or the files for that plane. So I'm sure that helped an awful lot as well. But it was crazy fast. And even like the initial load into the sim, even that initial load into the sim was crazy fast as well. I would say probably, I'd say anywhere between 30 seconds to a minute. Well, I'd say, yeah, 30 seconds less initial loading time into the sim. And I say that's crazy fast because think about it. You're loading the world. You know, there's so many assets you're loading. I'm not sure about you, but when it loads in the sim objects, I have almost 5,000 sim objects, you know, add-on stuff, in the community folder. And that's a lot. I'm sure there's someone out there with a lot more. There's always a bigger fish out there. But it was impressive. But I was really happy with Sim Update 3 overall. I'm going to hope that sometime this week there's a new update for it. And honestly, if they just fix the peripheral thing, I'll be happy. That's all I had an issue with. There was an issue with this guy here. I use the hide, what's it called? Handlebar or something. So normally there's a white strip up here when you bring up the menu here. I hide that. That's a free add-on. I think it's a hide handlebar on flightsim.to. And get rid of it. So that means when you move your mouse close to it, it doesn't have that thing pop up. Okay? So that was broken with Sim Update 3. But someone found a way to get it fixed, and there's a fix in the comments for the link up on flightsim.to for it. And you just change out an HTML file. But outside that, like the initial load, I didn't have my menu up here, which had an issue because I couldn't do my pushback with my pushback helper dude, or toolbar, whatever it's called. But outside that, like really no issues. Performance was the one thing with performance that actually was significantly better. Was I've complained about it here on the stream, and it seems to be almost every flight I have on stream here, especially, that I will randomly get those FPS drops where it drops down to like 2 to 15 FPS for like a minute, and then eventually sinks its way back to normal, and it seems to be related to VRAM. Well, in all the flights I did in Sim Update 3, which was most flights, it was all, Friday night, all of Saturday, and then half of Sunday. And I had got probably, I would say,
Southwest 516.
8 to 10 flights in that time frame. That didn't happen at all. That didn't happen at all. 0 times. And of course, my very first flight back in Sim Update 2, it happened. And I already saw it happen here in this flight once. I love the idea of downloading content. Also, oh yeah. So Lunar, apparently if you opt out of Sim Update 3 beta, you can still have those downloaded contents available for Sim Update 2. So if Sim Update 3 doesn't work for you or whatever, you can keep the downloaded stuff. Now, I personally haven't downloaded anything yet, but I might. I might look at. I'll have to see what I want to download, but I haven't downloaded anything yet. I also wonder, like, how does it handle updates for downloaded stuff? So let's say I download a plane that's in the cloud, like the Sovo Max, and then they have an update for the Max. How does it handle that? Or if I download, let's say the Chicago Airport O'Hare, how does it handle that update? These are the questions I have. There's that beautiful 737. Oh. Sorry. I just can't wait for one of the paidware 737s to come out. Speaking of 737s, so yesterday was supposed to be the launch of the. I was just watching the altitude. Was supposed to be the launch of the. What they call the CAP, Commercial Systems something, this CSS. The subscription-based 737, the classic, was supposed to launch yesterday. So yesterday morning I got out of bed and went to watch some videos on this plane. And I'm watching these videos and I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't look too bad. The texture's a little rough and there's some minor cosmetic issues, but it doesn't look too bad. And then you start listening to some of the sounds, you're like, okay, well, there's no, it's missing some sounds, which is crazy. And then you also notice that there's no liveries in the versions that the testers were using. And, yeah, they decided to pull the launch. And then I also found out that it also is initially launching for 2020 and not 2024. Which I thought I heard, and even on their website it says will be available for 2020 and 2024. But in their Discord, one of the devs said initially for 2020 and then eventually 2024. So that pushed me off even further because I don't use 2020 anymore. No, nothing against 2020. It's great. It's fine. It's a beautiful sim. But I moved on to 2024 now. That's where all my add-ons are and all that jazz. I want to try Sim Update 3. I really wish the stock airports were better in 24. I find them to be crappy. I fly out of it's just terrible. Yeah, some of the default airports can be a little rough. And it's interesting because I was watching a video on X-Plane 12 and the guy was talking about how the default airports in X-Plane are really good, for being default, generated stuff. And looking at them, they're not bad. They're really not bad compared to some of the ones in 2024. They are better. So that's something I would like to see Asobo figure out. Now, if memory serves me correctly, they said they were working on that sometime with 2024 is better terminals for generated airports. So maybe sometime this summer or fall or even next year we'll see an update with that. But I remember hearing about that one of the interviews that Asobo had. The reason for my sub is because of your problem streams post. Like your stream. Thank you, Will. That video has done better than I thought it was going to. And yeah, I really do appreciate everyone's support with it. I really do. It's a video that I really question if I was going to do, because I don't want to. Runway 34 right, just checking my runway. I didn't want to offend anyone. I didn't want to say anyone directly, because that's causing the problem. That's not trying to fix the problem. That's stirring up the problem. And I'm not trying to stir up a problem. I'm trying to provide insight on a concern that a trend that I've been seeing. And it didn't start last week by any means. It really didn't. It's this trend that I've been seeing for a bit. And even before I got into really making content again for Flight Sim 2020 and 2024, I was noticing this trend. You know, think about this. Okay, I'm not sponsored by anything. I never have been, and I never will be. I don't want to be sponsored. If someone wants me to try out a plane and all that, I'm not going to sign an NDA that says I can't talk bad about it. If there's issues, I'm going to talk bad about it. I shouldn't say talk bad about it. I will criticize it for opportunities. Right? Okay. So, I've talked about this before, but I've been interested recently in the past month and a half or so in the Moza flight stick, or the yoke, the Moza yoke. And both of those things are newer to the flight world. Moza is mostly known for its racing wheel and pedals. Well, they enter the flight sim world with the side stick, and it's a force feedback side stick. Okay, so it captivated my interest quite a bit. The price tag is a little high, combining the base, the stick, and shipping and all that jazz. You're looking at maybe upwards of $800 to $900. If you get it locally, you might be able to save a few bucks. Okay, but that's a lot of money to spend on a peripheral that is new. So you watch some videos, right? And one thing that came in mind with all these videos is that everyone was like, wow, you gotta try this new thing, or it's amazing. And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. That must mean it's amazing. But then you start to hear some of the problems, and this is from some of the content creators that I respect. And one of them, he did a review on it, and he said it's really cool, it's you can feel it, it's amazing. But then he started going into some of the opportunities, and then I started following a couple other a couple other videos that made the same thing. So then it really got to me, which was, okay, what is this stick? Is this garbage? Is it a work in progress? Where's the happy medium? And then I started looking at people posting reviews, in Reddit and Discords and stuff, and then I determined that it seems to be that happy medium. Right there, it's a cool stick. It has opportunities. It can be amazing at times, but this. And the same with the yoke. The yoke reviews came out, and people are like, oh, it's the best thing, since sliced bread. And then all of a sudden, the real world users, people who went and bought the product, started posting reviews of it. And those reviews started being a little bit more differently. They were like, it's cool, but one thing it doesn't have dynamic trim settings, so that if you trim it, the yoke doesn't go forward or back. The software leaves a lot to be desired. It has a plastic feeling in certain areas. So you're starting to see some patterns here, which is the early reviews that came out before it was available to the general public were showing that it's an amazing product and there's zero flaws. But then the real world reviewers, purchasers per se, or even maybe affiliates, got it and started questioning some of the things behind it. And that's where I think this video came from, is it stirred me in the wrong way with that. And I want to express concerns, and it's not just hardware, there's software concerns as well. I've ranted about different developers on this channel that I feel are doing wrong or shady. There is coming a community item in 2024 where the community can work on air. Oh yeah, so that was available in 2020. Will, I can't remember what it's called actually. I can't remember what that's called. But I was actually in that program. I didn't publish an airport, but I was in that program. I was messing with it. World something? World Hub? I think that's what it's called, World Hub. But yeah, it allows people, regular people, when it was launched in 2020, you had to apply for it, and once you applied, you would wait for a link and all that, and then you had access to the setup. And it's really cool. It was really cool. You essentially dropped and dragged buildings around your airport. You can move things, but you couldn't make your own stuff. It was only stuff that's only in the sim. And the idea was that they're going to capture all these new updated airports and then submit it out to all the simmers out there. And they did that with 2020. And they're going to do it here in 2024 again. So I'm kind of excited about that. Just skip from the beginning of this video and notice the IRSs worked for you in the PMG's 737. How did you get them to work in 2024? The IRS has always worked. So the issue with this plane today, which I never had an issue with, is the APU didn't want to start up. So I had it set for cold dark GPU. So I spawned on the runway. I slewed over to a gate. I then went into the FMC, well, the PMG setup, and I went to cold and dark for the GPU. Once I was there, I started setting up the airplane, and I wanted to start up the APU, but the APU would not spool up. So then I had to I switched over to, it's a taxi. So then I loaded up in the FMC taxi, and, just got to fly. Yeah, World Hub, yep. So it'll be cool. I wonder what the delay is with World Hub, because it wasn't available in 2020 until the launch of 2024, or shortly before the launch of 2024. And I don't know if they changed a lot to where it's more difficult. So I'm so confused. You need the APU always on. So you didn't start in cold dark. That's maybe why the irises worked. I tried to, but yeah. So I was able to. I had a custom profile made up, a custom setup made up here before, and essentially it was ground power connected, and what was it? Ground connected, ground on, and jetway setup. Okay, that's the only thing I had set up, and it worked fine, but I couldn't get to work again recently. And this worked fine in Sim Update 2 beta, and I kind of haven't really flown this the 737 for a bit, so I don't know if something broke in that time frame or not. And so I tried it. I don't remember if I tried. Yeah, I did. I tried the 737 in Sim Update 3, and it worked fine. I also tried loading it at the gate, and that of course does not work still. You can edit some character thing, but I couldn't get the sim to load if I did that. Welcome in P2, how you doing? I thought your stream ended. Might have been an issue on my end. I set up a vertical stream on OBS. I would stream. Oh, cool, nice.
Contact Denver Center 118 point for
No, this is sim update 2. It's 2. Yeah, I ended my 3 because of the CTD and then the peripheral issue. So when the next update comes out, I will jump into it. Try it again. I was happy with it overall. Some of the changes they made were a blessing. The VRAM issue was a blessing if they actually got it fixed, and if it stays fixed for the final sim update 3, that'd be great. And then the lighting changes is really, really cool. Like, one of the changes I saw with the lighting is, like, on the ground, it seemed like the cloud on the ground, the clouds were on the ground. The ground was darker when there were clouds above it, substantially darker, like in real life it would be. And I'm missing that right now. That's the first thing I noticed when I got up in the sky. Yeah, you tried it too, the sim update 3? Yeah, like I said, it was a pretty good update. No major issues. It's just that my last flight I had a CTD, and then when I restarted to load back into the sim, then the peripheral issue happened. And I didn't have the peripheral issue during the flight. It's only just at the beginning of it. Kim is streaming and consistently bashing sim update 3. Well, you know, it's a beta. It's a beta. Like, remember when sim update 2 beta, the first one came out, how disastrous that was? Okay, that's one where you can bash, because I don't remember what the issues were per se, but there were some bad issues with that. I was in it for 5 minutes and I got out. It was so bad. I honestly, I don't remember what the problems were. It was really bad, though. Sim update 3, though, beta, I think is fairly stable for a first beta. Fairly stable. And obviously you can bash it all you want, I don't care. This is what the community's for, right? To give criticism, and hopefully Asobo is listening and watching, and you know, we're doing our jobs and posting it in the forums and discords and all that, so they're aware. I feel sim update 3 is what the sim should have been at release. Yeah, I think sim update 3 will be the final big update. I agree with you, P2. I think it will be. He's not happy with it, huh? I didn't get to watch his streams this weekend. I was busy doing some other stuff. But I wonder what his problems were with it. Like I said, other than the CTD, maybe he's having the peripheral issues. But I mostly flew the CRJ, the E-Jet. I tried the Asobo Max. That was my first flight, the Asobo Max. And you know, it was fine. So initially when I first loaded into it, jumped into Salt Lake City and in the Asobo Max, and at pushback I was trying to taxi, and I noticed my peripheral wasn't working, my rudders. I was like, okay, well, let's figure this out. So I unplugged it, plugged it back in. Okay, so that worked. I was like, cool, all right, let's go. So I put the throttle up, and then I noticed the throttle wasn't working. I was like, okay, what the hell? So I unplugged the throttle, plugged the throttle back in, and then gave it some more power, and okay, so it's moving. But then I noticed my rudder pedals weren't working. I was like, what the hell? Okay, so I unplugged it, plugged it back in, and so then I had rudders working, and then I had throttle working. I was like, all right, cool. And so then I went to do a flight control check, looked down, and, well, my yoke wasn't working. So I restarted the sim. I didn't do anything at that point other than just restart the sim. Got back in, tested all the peripherals, all worked, and did my flight. And all was fine up until that CTD. Once that CTD happened, loaded back in the sim, and the peripheral issue came back. So it was really, really weird. I was watching Mickey stream that subscription plane. There was the one guy on his chat just absolutely hating on that plane. I wanted to try it. I was willing to give them $5. I really was. But again, it's only currently going to be available in 2020, and then eventually going to be available in 2024. But you know, it's good on the developer. Good on the developer for not pushing it out, making some changes, and then pushing out to the community. They could have easily threw on early access tag on it and said it was, you know, it's a work in progress, but they didn't. They pulled it back and said we'll release it at a different time. And then they even showed off in the Discord some screenshots of the texture improvement. So that gives me hope that they might be a good developer. Alright, so we are descending via Logger 3. So yeah, it gives me a little bit of hope they might be a good developer. They're very new. We're gonna see how it all plays out. I am not happy with the subscription stuff. I also am not happy with the full buyout price. But we'll see. Speaking of subscription, like what happened to the whole like try thing? There's one thing that Sopo said is that with Flight Sim 2024, developers will be able to have a trial feature where you can go into the marketplace, try out a plane for, I don't know, whatever it is, a flight or 24 hours. Our fuel low. That's fine. But I haven't seen anything of that yet. Behind a VPN, but I see a delay with my typing in chat. I was thinking about getting a VPN. I just don't need it really. I was doing exactly the same, unplugging this and plugging. Yeah. I can't wait for the C750 from Flight FX. Yeah. Also the Embraer 4. What is it? What's the Embraer one? Who's working on that? Is that Flight FX as well? So if you want to try $5 for a month, and then if you love it that much, you can. What did you say? Hold on. And then if you love it as much as you love the Phoenix PMG, then pay full price for 4 variants. But apparently full price gives you 4 variants in some freighter ones eventually. Yeah, like, okay, what is it, like $150 or something like that to buy it full out? That's the price of 2 777s. Essentially. That's the price of, what, 2 variants of the 737. So if you put that in perspective, yeah. Like if you bought all 4 of the 737s from PMDG, what is that price tag? 140, 200, 250? Is it 250, I think? I'm just estimating. The E145, yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited for that. So let's just round it up at 250. So if you buy all 4 variants of the PMDG 737, or you can get 4 variants of the, this new one, the CSS. Is it CCS or CSS? Yeah, CSS. For 150. But again, they are a developer that has a lot of question marks, and it's kind of those, we'll wait and see what happens with it. They very much wait and see what happens. I have high hopes. I really do. I have high hopes. I'm going to step away for just a moment.
Southwest 516, contact Denver Center 125.9 or 25.
Contact Denver Center 125.9 or 25, Southwest 516. Have a good morning. Denver Center, Southwest 516, descending via Lager Tree, flight level 328.
Southwest 516, Denver Center, copy.
Okay, sorry about that. Kat didn't want to eat this morning, and now she's telling me she's ready to eat, so slight delay there. PMG is taking it too far with pricing. I agree. The 777, the pricing is way out of control. And again, we're going to see what the price upgrade is going to be for the 300. And that plane launched at what, 70 bucks or 80 bucks? I don't remember, somewhere around there. I personally am not buying the upgrade for it. I'm happy with the 200. The 200 is more ideal for what I'm looking for. Sure, it'd be nice for the freighter stuff, but I don't really do a lot of freighters. Although I might eventually, with the pilot's life, get over to FedEx or UPS. But I mostly do just commercial passenger stuff. And we're going to see what happens with the 737 pricing, upgrades with that. Like, I really hope, really hope that they're listening to the community's issue with some of the pricing. I really do. They do have high quality stuff. I said it in the video. When they release a product, it is stable, ready to go. They don't normally put a date out there. If they do a date, it's a long range, and if things aren't ready within that range, they push it back. They don't throw out a half-baked product. You would never see what happened with the A350 happen from PMTG. Mark my words on that, knock on wood. But you should never see that happen with PMTG. At least with Flight Sim 2020 and 2024, they've been pretty good with their products. So at least you have that. I wish Kib did a tutorial how he manipulates the CSS on Volanta header. Oh yeah, he has a really cool header. Really cool Volanta thing. Is it Volanta? I would say Volanta.
Southwest 1944, Denver Center.
Volanta. I think he says Volanta. I am basing my decision to buy the 777 upgrade if they charge, or the 200 based on price. That's a good, yeah, it's a good way to do it, P2. So there's this other flight tracking software called Aviation. Let me bring it up real quick. Whoops. So there's this thing here. This is completely free, and it has a lot of the same things that Volanta has. One thing I can't get working is the startup. It's supposed to start with the system, but it doesn't for me. So I have a folder. I had the shortcut in the startup folder for flight for Windows. So that's how I get to launch. But it has tracking and all that jazz. It has a streaming feature as well. It has an overlay that you can use as bots. If it's on Discord, sorry, not on Twitch. It's on Twitch right now. And then you can customize things and all that jazz. So, overlay discovery service enables you to This enables utilizes stream overlays. So you can enable that. I'm not sure how you do that, but.
Southwest 516 Denver Center.
So I've been happy with this. Like, I don't even have Volanta installed anymore. Does it even track anything? There's my little plane. No, it's not. That's someone else's plane. Oh, we're up here. Here's my little plane. Obviously, there's not as many people flying it right now. But oh, never mind. There is. There's a decent amount of people. Mostly, I got a couple over the oceans. Is that a Concorde? No way. Someone's flying the Concorde. Very cool. That's cool. They have a logo for the Concorde. But yeah. So this is. I don't remember what their website is, but you can. It's completely free. That's not bad. I stopped with my overlay. I don't know why. I have it still. Can you track with mobile? I don't think so.
Southwest 3717.
I fell behind chat, sorry. I am basing my decision. Oh, I saw that one. I love that the What?
Contact Denver
Hold on.
Center 125.9 or 5, Southwest 3717.
Yeah, I love PMTG, but I've spent way too much on their products, not buying any new stuff from them for a bit. Yeah, I understand LunarJet. I'm 100% with you. Like, it's... Especially when you look at the pricing from other developers. And I use Phoenix as a good example, but iFly is also a good example, because the iFly came out for $69, right? 70 bucks? Was it 70 or 60? I think it was... Well, now I'm curious. I gotta check. $69.95. Yeah, so it came. It's 70 bucks for the iFly, and there's one variant, but the Max in there and the 900's coming out at some point. But it's a damn good plane. It's a damn good plane. And so you have to look at it. Do you want to spend 70 bucks on that, or do you want to spend, what is this, the 737 price one variant over on PMGG? It's probably 70 bucks as well. So you have to decide which one you want to go with. Obviously, they're two different planes and they work two different ways, but I feel like both sides have passion. It's going to come down to the variants, and we're going to see what happens with iFly, how much they charge for the 900 variant, because that's going to be a big factor to determine how they are as a developer. Do they care enough about the community's backlash with other variants? And then also, are they going to charge for a 2024 upgrade? And I think the last thing I heard was no. But we are hearing that PMGG was going to be charging for one. So, we'll see. Yeah, that software is completely free. And the cool thing about it is that it does have like the prediction stuff over on Twitch. Like, I saw the message come up on Twitch. I want the Max 10. That would be awesome. Yeah, the Max 10 would be cool. Why does the fuel thing keep yelling at me? We got plenty of fuel. Alright, so we should be on the ground here in about 18 minutes. I can't wait for the Phoenix update and the new A220. I really want the 220. I really, really want that. If you've been on the stream for a long enough time, you know that I am a sucker for regional aircrafts. Everything but the RJ, because that's just a complex plane for me. Way too complex. I gotta get this landing stuff sorted. So radios 1111. 1111. 1111. Alright, got that set in there. Minimums are 5554. Yeah, that 220, I really, really want that. I hope it's good. I really, really hope it's good. Like, as long as it's like... as long as it's in-built... I feel bad saying this. As long as it's the in-built quality of, like, the 320. As long as it's that. And that's a fine plane. But then you can't compare it to the Phoenix. You really can't. But as long as it's that quality, I'll be happy. Baltic and Swiss, great. Yeah, I really want that plane. Got a video coming out tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. For well, I don't want to say. I don't want to spoil it, but I explained in there something I'm super excited about, which is the E-Jet upgrade. Which I don't think they're charging for that. For the 2024 compatible upgrade. I think they're just hoping to sell more copies. $5,554. This is something that the the Airbus planes do so much better is you could just type in the minimums versus scrolling through all this. Okay, cool. And then we're unable there, that's fine, grand. Alright, we're going to switch this over to FS Action. So we have that set. Yeah, as long as it's medium quality indeed. Yeah, you know, like, it's a shame that I have to say that it's difficult to get high quality aircrafts in the sim. You know, you look at the the PMGG 737, the iFly Max, the Phoenix planes. There is a great amount of GA aircrafts that are high quality. The Comanche's really good. You know me, I love the Kodiak. Oh shoot, what's that plane called? Oh, dang it. Shoot, I can't remember that name of that plane.
Southwest 516.
But anyways, that's a good plane.
Contact Denver Center 125.905.
But yeah, anyways, there's a lot of good GA aircrafts. The RJs from Just Flight are supposed to be really good too. The MDs are really good.
Denver Center, Southwest 516.
Like there are some really good ones, but then there is a crap load of really crappy ones. Captain Sim is one of these people that makes a bunch of planes and a lot of crappy ones. There's the Latin VFR Airbus planes that, you know, are pretty bare bone. Who came up with the CRJ 200? Was that Latin VFR as well? Or is it Latin VFR? I think it is. Carinados. Carinado planes, you know, people have a love-hate relationship with those planes for sure. Some complain that the planes, systems aren't great, or their flight physics aren't all that amazing. But one thing that they do is they have super incredible, highly detailed models. 3-4 right, cool. Really, really high quality. I flew the heck out of a Carinado plane, the Seneca. When the Seneca launched in 2020, I was doing my around the world tour, and I started off with the Caravan, and then I eventually jumped over to the Carinado Seneca, and I flew that for a long time. I had a blast with it.
Southwest 2011. Airport is at your 2 o'clock 2 miles. Report the field in sight.
But yeah, they're like their planes they're good, super high quality graphics for sure. And I'm not a real world pilot, so I don't know about the flight dynamics and physics and all that jazz. But from what I fly, like I have fun flying them, and I think that's what. Oh yeah, the broken trash, the broken. What's that? What's it? Broken or not broken? Brock 3D or something like that. I don't remember. There's another dev like that. Throw out a bunch of crap. And there's a bunch of scenery ones. There's the lights, or what is it called? Something scenery. MS scenery, which I think ported the stuff over from P3D. It's just awful. As a student pilot myself, I trained on the Piper 28 in real life, and the plane is very, very well modeled for sure. Nice. Just Flight has some really good flight models. Really, really good ones. Just Flight brought over a bunch of their... didn't they just bring over the Piper to 2024? So yeah, there's a lot of good ones. But then there's some, yeah, the Russian, yeah, it starts with a B. Anyways, but yeah, there are some good developers, but there's a lot of questionable developers out there, which I was working on a video for it, but I don't have those products, and I'm not willing to give them my money for those products to test. And I would much rather... Here's the way I am as a content creator on the channel. I don't want to talk bad about a product if I have not been able to try it myself. I think that's super important. Now, obviously, there are the knowns. Everyone knows that there are certain issues that Captain Sim, I don't own a single one of their product, but everyone, it's universal that they just make terrible crap, right? In those cases, yeah, it's fine. But for example, the CSS 737, all I have to go off of references is the Warrior, yeah. All I have to go to references is the videos and some screenshots. And from what I'm seeing in those videos and looking at the screenshots, they made the right call from pushing it back, right? They really did. And the A350 is a good example. It's a plane that I bought and own, and I was super excited about the plane. I had fun flying it. It had issues. I had performance issues. I talked about those issues, but I had fun flying it. I really loved the cockpit. I think it's a really cool cockpit in the plane. Nothing that, well, obviously Inabuild's made the virtual cockpit, but the real world cockpit looks really, really cool, and I love the way it is. But that's an example of a product that I wouldn't have been able to talk about if I didn't buy it. And the 777's the same thing. Like, say what you want about that price tag, because yeah, it is expensive, but the plane itself is really, really cool. Now, they shouldn't have sold it for the price they did. I'm with you on that. But that being said, put that on the back burner. It is a fun plane to fly. My only complaint with Just Flight is that they truly... yeah. There are some developers. Example, the Kodiak from SWS. When the Kodiak came out, there was a lot of press about it being finicky of a plane. It doesn't it handles really weird. The trim's weird, and all that jazz, right? And eventually they made some changes to it to where it is a lot more fun to fly in the sim, but still keeps a lot of the real world numbers to a T. And the same with the PC-12. When they released that PC-12, there was a real world pilot in their Discord who kept on, he was even on my channel when I was flying it and criticizing me when I was giving my opportunity speeches about that plane, how this is wrong or that's wrong and this wrong. And I was like, dude, I'm just here trying to have fun with a plane. But his voice was so loud to SWS that they made changes based on his feedback. And eventually, when they realized that's not what the simmers wanted, SWS switched tactics and started listening to the community. And then they made adjustments to that plane so that the trim wasn't so crazy as it was on launch. And it flies a lot better in the sim now. Although Just Like Piper just got an update and need to give it a shot now. Yeah, I flew the Kodiak in 2024 not too long ago and I enjoyed it. I think that's the only GA plane I've flown for a bit.
Southwest 3717. Contact Denver Tower 1.
Welcome in, US. Have you seen videos, reviews of Captain Sim's C-130? I don't think it's that bad. Yeah, the C-130 is supposed to be one of their best planes they've done. People are saying it's pretty decent. So if there's any plane out there that I could say maybe has a chance at being okay from them, it would be that plane. Now, I don't own it, and I won't buy it because I'm not interested in that plane, but it's not because it looks bad. It seems like it's about the only plane they've produced in flight sim.
Turn left, heading 160. Vectors for the approach.
160.
Turn left, heading 160, Southwest 516.
That's gonna put us pretty high.
Southwest 516, descend, maintain 9,000.
Descend, maintain 9,000.
All right, 160
Southwest
heading.
516.
Select and going down to 6,000. Whoops. Oh, sorry, 9,000. Okay. And let's go up here. Landing lights are on, taxi lights are on, checked and good. And he's going to maintain 9,000 at Boeing. We want to be at 9,000, which is there. Okay, grand. Oh, I love Beyond ATC. It's rare for me to fly without it. The only times I fly without it is if I'm like watching something in the background. It's about the only time I'll fly without it. It's like the old, what was it? MasterCard commercials? Don't leave home without it.
16. Turn left, heading 055. Intercept the 34 right localizer. Descend, maintain 7,900.
Okay, we're gonna drop on
Turn
down.
left, heading 055. Intercept the 34 right localizer. Descend, maintain 7,900. Southwest 516.
And 055. And we're gonna intercept the localizers to arm the approach. And how are we looking here? 13 nautical miles out. Let's go ahead and start our flap. What's our V speeds today? 142, 137. There is simming and game flying on Xbox. I am the simmer. Study level, please. Yeah, for sure. That's kind of like, I think Xbox is great for those who are initially getting into the sim, for sure. But if you want the full experience of flight simming, I think you need to get to PC. I think you kind of need to. Does Beyond ATC AI stutter for you? It has for me for the past few months. Yeah, there's a known issue. The last update that came out for it fixed some of it, but it does happen sometimes.
Airport is at your 10 o'clock, 14 miles. Report the field in sight.
I saw the field. We have the field in sight. Southwest 516. Alright, on landing, runway 34 right.
Southwest 516, cleared visual approach, runway
Exiting to the
34
right.
right.
Clear for the approach.
Cleared visual approach, 34 right, Southwest
Alright,
516.
looking really good. 13 nautical miles out. But yeah, you'll see here, there's some slight stuttering still. It's better, but I know they're still working on some things with that. Oh yeah, the VFR. Yeah, when the VFR, I think I'll finally actually get back into GA flying when VFR comes out.
Contact
I'm so
tower
excited for it.
13513,
Welcome in, Vector.
Southwest 516.
Yeah, I'm super excited for
Tower, Southwest 516.
VFR.
Visual runway 34 right.
180. I'm sure Kip is too, because he primarily does VFR too.
Southwest 516, Denver Tower. Wind 250.
Alright, you're coming down.
Runway 34 right, clear to land.
Spoilers are armed.
Runway 34 right, cleared to land. Southwest 516.
You can have to load with FSLTL. Yeah, there's I have a video up on the channel, Will, that helps with performance with FSLTL and Beyond ATC. Essentially, it's a mod over on flights in the TO that lowers the graphics, but they still are really good. I can hardly tell the difference, honestly.
Southwest 3299, contact Denver.
All right, flaps are coming down to 10.
Contact Denver departure. Southwest 3299.
Butter at 267. Oh boy, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've done a 737 landing, so the pressure's on. All right, speed coming down to 160. What was it? 142. And flaps coming down to 25. And speed 142. Flaps down to 30. Checked and set. 186. Oh yes, VFR will be great. Same tension is kind of getting on my nerves at this point. Still has some bugs, or still has many bugs.
1000.
1000 call. AP is off my aircraft. All right, bring up that nose a little bit. A little low on the approach. Yeah, I can't wait for VFR with Beyond ATC. I said it in my video, but it was it's all about that LLM. Once I got that LLM out and doing their testing, I'm sure it's just on its way. little off course. We have a crosswind of 13 down to 11 knots now. We got a frontier right below us. This is a cool approach into Denver.
Approaching minimums.
Oh, that's the other issue with the Asobel Max minimums. It like keeps calling it out. Landing.
50, 30, 20.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Pulled back. Pulled up way too high. Crap.
Airspeed low. Airspeed low.
This went to hell. Alright, we got down. Oh my gosh. My control's a little too sensitive. Or I just haven't flown it for a while, so messed me up. Alright, flaps going up.
Runway 34 left, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 34 left, RNAV to Nugs, cleared for takeoff. Frontier Flight 2210.
Oh man. So much for a good landing. We'll see what the landing rate was.
Exit right at Foxtrot 10.
Foxtrot 1018. We'll take it.
Right at Foxtrot 10, Southwest 516.
And landing lights are coming off.
Southwest 516. Contact ground.
Alright, let's see if we can get the APU started up.
Ground 121.35, Southwest 516.
Huh. So low oil pressure. It's not moved. Oh, there it goes.
Southwest
Okay.
516. Request taxi to come.
Okay, I was like, is it broken still?
Southwest 516. Gate Charlie 25.
Players toga for Joe.
Charlie November, Juliet.
I was like taken off. I like pulled back way
Gate
too much.
Charlie 25 via Foxtrot.
Way too much.
Charlie November, Juliet,
Charlie
Southwest
November,
516.
Juliet. I heard the passenger screaming. Oh man. Let's see if the landing rate is. Let's see if it tells me. I don't know if it tells me yet. 187. I'll take it. little bit of a float, but 187. I think I was so used to I'm so used to like the E-Jet or the Phoenix with the handling. I haven't flown the 737 for a minute, so like it caught me off guard. You lost all the oil with the flare.
Frontier Flight 1093.
Called it
Gate Alpha
186.
38,
Nice.
Request pushback.
It worked out.
Frontier Flight 1093.
I think I just have to adjust the sensitivities with this plane. Is that a CRJ in front of us?
Pushback approved. Face west.
No, that's not a
Frontier
CRJ.
Flight 1093.
Looks smaller. It's United. Alright, we're taxiing Foxtrot Charlie November Juliet. So are we parking right over here?
United
Where are we
1093
going?
at Gate Bravo
Charlie
21.
25?
Request pushback and engine start.
United 2666. Contact Denver Tower 135.3.
Over to Tower 135.3, United 2666.
Okay, Charlie 25 is on the opposite side of this terminal.
United 1093. Denver ground. Pushback approved. Face west.
Yeah, Luna, that was really close.
Pushback and engine start approved. Face west. United 1093.
Okay, next
United
stream
1247. Contact Denver Tower 135.3. Have a
probably,
good one.
well, probably Friday, honestly. I need to work on some videos on Wednesday and Thursday morning. And Friday I'm off of work. Got a long 4-day weekend. Super excited about. Then we have some company in town later on Friday throughout the weekend. So definitely no streaming and content making that throughout the weekend. So yeah, I'm going to say probably going to be Friday. Friday, maybe a little later starting time. Not at the crack of dawn like today. Alright, so our next turn here, Boeing Airport Chicago Airbus. What? Alright, here is Charlie November. Yeah, so we're going to park next to this Southwest. This is like one of the cool things about Beyond ATC, is that it does have the real world parking gates. Well, I should say it auto assigns you the real world parking gate. It would be cool though if you can get like the if you can get like the gate assignment before landing. So here's Juliet. Bye, Will. Thanks for coming on in. I'm gonna guess like maybe 10 a.m. Central Time. I say later, and then all of a sudden it's gonna be at 9 a.m. like always Central Time. Today was a little earlier, so I can end it earlier. I feel like I just need a little bit more time to get prepared for work.
Runway 3 for left taxi via hotel.
And I'm typically ready at 8:30 a.m. anyways, like today. Alright, so I guess we're not parking next to the Southwest, but parking 25, which is not the first one, but the second one, right? 24, 25. Is that 25?
Denver ground. Pushback and engine start approved. Face northwest.
That's 26. Where the hell's 25 at?
Pushback approved. Face northwest. United
I'm
2309.
26. Oh, it should have been on the other side. Whoops. Oh well. We're gonna pick 26. We'll pick 26. Alright, taxi lights are coming off as well. You should give real ACARs a try for the gate assignments feature, and then tell Beyond ATC that you're going to that gate. Ooh, that's a good idea, Lunar. Maybe I'll do that for the next flight. I've always wanted to give real ACARs a try. Maybe I will for the next flight on Friday. I'll try working on it this week.
United 488, Denver ground.
Alright, parking brake is set. Go on down. Oops, wrong button. Down here. Ground services. Let's connect the ground and then get the jetway connect upstairs to jetway. Request it. It's coming. And then we can go on down here and turn off these guys. And then we're on APU power. Ground power's on. Okay. Welcome to Denver.
United 2309. Taxi for departure.
Welcome to Denver. Let's see what we got with a pilot's life. So 180, what was it, 187 or something like that? Let's see what a pilot's life said.
Alpha Alpha, Whiskey Alpha.
Runway 34 left taxi via Alpha November Hotel.
Remember what I was complaining about on the last flight?
United 2309.
Why is my thing not working here? I don't understand what's going on. Remember I was complaining about my score not being great? Well, here's my recent score.
Flight 1093. Contact Denver Tower 135.3.
I'm gonna kill out Beyond ATC, so it's not wasting all my credits. So we got 100% on the last flight, and landing rate 172. So even better with with a pilot's life. Very cool. And I have exciting news to report, and that is, again, this was Southwest livery, but it was a SkyWest flight. We go look at the leaderboard for SkyWest, and go to Lexterio here, is 5 away from tying second place. And this individual, Rob, is not active. So, I feel by the end of this week, I should be in second place. And then I'm retiring from SkyWest. I am retiring from SkyWest. This Matt guy is active again. He's up to 401. He flies like crazy, so I'm not going to be able to reach him. But if I can get to second place, I'll quit SkyWest, and then I'm not quite sure what airline I'm going to jump to. I have American. Oh, FedEx offered. I'll be damned. And then SkyWest offered, but I won't do them. I'm not quite sure who we're going to go with. I might look at FedEx, actually. I might look at that. Even though I do mostly commercial cargo, commercial passengers, it'd be kind of cool to get to FedEx. And I'll do like I did with this flight, which is I'll still fly whatever plane I want to. And fly under a different livery. I'll pretend like, you know, FedEx uses, like in real life, FedEx uses, in UPS, they use a commercial passenger plane sometimes to move cargo around. So I'll just pretend that. So there's a high probability I'll jump over to FedEx, because it's been a minute since I've been with the FedEx airline. And then I can jump into the A300, and then maybe I'll consider doing the 300, depending on how much the upgrade is. But we'll see. But anyways, thanks everyone for coming on in. Appreciate it. And you'll fly the Caravan for FedEx. Oh yeah, good point. I can fly the Caravan, and I think they also fly the Sky Carrier, so I can do that too. That'd be fun. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all. But again, thanks everyone for coming in today's stream. A lot of fun. Really cool flight, and it was fun to see the 737 pretty much work in Flight Sim 2024. And hopefully we'll see a Sim Update Beta 3 number 2 come out sometime this week, so I can jump into that for the next stream as well. But keep an eye on that channel for the next video. I think it's coming out tomorrow. I'm kind of excited about that video, and then I have some other ones I'm working on for the rest of this month. But as always, thanks for coming in, and we'll see you for the next stream. Take care.